Welcome to this channel. So yesterday I have good discussions with many Wing Chun friends because many Wing Chun friends have asking me on the revise on Wing Chun Kun Xiu Lim Tao sets. So today I decide to share this with you, and with this you can see the evolutions of Wing Chun Xiu Lim Tao, the sets. And so hopefully you'll be able to understand what is going on. And if people want to revise it, then you can revise it. So as usual, as any technology, if we don't know the history of that particular technology, there's no way we can revise things. If we don't know the past, we don't know how to handle the future. That is the bottom line. And also, the Wing Chun Xiu Lim Tao, it is a technology. Technology can be analyzed, can be evaluated, can be verified, can be predicted. So, what I'm going to share with you today is based on historical evidence and science. Okay, as usual, this is what it is. Now, if we want to look into the Wing Chun Xiu Lim Tao sets of today, we need to go back to 1850s in the Red Book. So in the 1850 Red Book, there's only one Xiu Lim Tao set, but it has 4 parts. Okay, 1850, it has one Xiu Lim Tao set and 4 parts, meaning that whoever practiced in the Red Book, the anti-Qing Red Book with the salutations, there's only one set. Okay, so the set have 4 parts. Now, the first part of that Xiu Lim Tao set, the design, the technological design of the first part of the Xiu Lim Tao set is using a few techniques as an example to develop the 6-13-3, the 6 core elements, the physical, mind, breathing, energy, strength or force handling, and momentum. So this part 1 of Xiu Lim Tao in 1850 is designed that way, like if there is a techniques, a whip up techniques, even though it is just this techniques, whip up techniques, the key is when one practice that techniques, one is investigating, observing, find out the 6 core element which is within these techniques. Okay, so that's what it is. Now, by 1880, in writing of the 1880, the concrete writing of 1880, at that period of times, we already know that the Xiu Lim Tao part 1 of 1850s now has been called the Xiu Lim Tao or Xiu Lim Tao. No longer it is 4 part Xiu Lim Tao of 1850. He just took this part 1, make it a set called 小林桃. Okay, so when this become the 1880s 小林桃 sets, thing change. The 小林桃 is no longer like in the 1850 小林桃. You have an example, for example, this move, you're using this move and to study into the six core element or to investigate how the six core element when you make this move or make these techniques. In 1880s, a technique is a technique. So like this is a technique of whip out. What is the use of techniques? Or you're going to use this for chopping, those kind of stuff. It no longer have the six core element within it because the focus is different. This is just okay. This is just for whip out, for chopping, for whatever. How you going to injure your opponent? How you use this technique? Those stuff. Okay. So this 1880 by evidence of writing. There's a writing in 1880s. You can see that. Okay. Very clearly at 1880, the six core element is dropped. Very clearly at 1880s, 小林桃, they no longer have breathing elements. It doesn't. As we know, at the 1880s time, many of the Wing Chuners start or already have smoking, taking opiums. Okay? So it's that period of time where breathing part have already dropped from here to here. Okay? Now, by the time it gets to 1960s, thus what happened, what exists in 1880s start to evolve more. Evolve in different type of 小林桃 set with different type variations of techniques based on lineages. Your lineage have this way, these techniques. My lineage have these techniques. There's 1960s. And in the 1960s, the concept of structure, mind power come into play under the influence of internal art, which is really popular at that time, such as Tai Chi, Yi Quan, so forth. On this Fa Jing, you touch me, you fly, okay, and I can take your force into my body. So that is where the structure and the mind power come in at 1960s. Okay. Now, why do we know that this is no longer this the 1850 stuff? Because the 1960s, the structure, the mind power, all of this type of 小林桃 set evolution do not have the content of breathing. It doesn't have. It jump right away to you need to have a structure or 价值 in the Tai Chi or the northern Chinese martial art. It's called 价值, structure, and then your yi, mind power. So a certain Wing Chun's lineage 小林桃 take that road. Okay, it fused with the ideas of the so-called internal art. Now, certain other lineage didn't take that path, but they have their own different technique sets. No matter what, there's no more breathing there. So the 小林桃 practice, you do not have the breathing synchronizations and handling like in the 1850, because you need to have that breathing in order to generate that strength, that power, that momentum, and also that chi. Okay, that's ancient Chinese, but here it is a different thing already. Now, and all this today, if we look at it in the say in the early year 2000 or so, you further will find out that somebody, like in the YouTube, you can see somebody in Europe will say, Wing Chun is Wang Chun, the eternal spring, the eternal spring of, like in Hong Kong, Wang Chun, Shaolin Wang Chun. So you can see many of our European friends who make YouTube showing that Xiu Lim Tao has to practice this way, like Wang Chun. Again, that's techniques, which they think. And then some will say that it has to be like Tai Chi, soft, okay, with the Qi, with Tai Chi type of philosophy. And then further, it evolved in some, you even say that Ngo Zhou, detached power, that is the Wing Chun internal or the Xiu Lim Tao. So this all evolved like that. So this is the entire evolution. We like it or not, this is what happened. It doesn't have to, I tell this story this way. Anybody who have studied in the Chinese history, like our Mr. Tang Hao, who is the traditional Chinese martial art historian in the early 1900s, they will see this. Okay? Because this is all data. You look at the lineage and all this data. Okay? So over here, people create their Xiu Lim Tao based on this, and let's go. That's how it is. However, we have to be careful. This is 2020. This is a time Western sports science, Western boxing, Western MMA have already adapted the heart rate variability, scientific training, have adapted scientific training on breathing, have adapted neuromuscular, cardiovascular, not neuromuscular, cardiovascular endurance, muscle endurance, and neuromuscular training. Power, momentum is well defined. Okay? So, the reason why I have all those Wing Chun books written is because I'm revising what happened in 1850 with this. And we can see today that whatever in 1850 the 6 core element can fit into this. That is the H model. So this have already mapped in here. I have revised it into the today's scientific way. How many years? 40 years in total to do the job. As for here, it is not my field, but we know what it is. Okay? So for me, when our Wing Chun friend asked me about revising Wing Chun 小连头, I can tell the entire world I have already revised it for the 1850. As for here, it's up to the people who is practicing here to revise it, to evolve it, and so forth. And thus, this entire thing is the 1960s Wing Chun. This is 1850 Wing Chun. And I break this apart. So in the United States of America, this is what we have now, revised. This is 2021. As for here, it is not my duty to do anything. And in fact, I am not belongs to this group. So just let those who belongs to here doing their revisions or evolutions. Okay. So technically, this is what the truth. And I share this with you so that you see what happened.